Hello. Hello, everybody. Hello. Can you see me? Hi, everybody. I know I didn't do a show this week, but I really needed a break. I needed a time to myself. I was absolutely worn out, drained and exhausted from doing so many readings. Hi, Jane Poe. Hi, Trey. Hi, Ian. Hi, Billy Blaze. The readings take so much out of me. Hi, Taurus. And I needed a break. So if you want a private reading with me, I'd be honored to give you one. I have many readings for people that are not sure they want to do a reading with me if they've never had one with me before. And I have the 15-minute mini reading. I have, hi, Marianne Haynes. Mariama. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. Hi, Tyra. Hi, Clarence. You are more than welcome to get a private reading with me. Hey, cuz, I would be honored to do it for you. You can contact me at my email, alexysktylorvp@gmail.com, and we can do a private reading. But the readings I've been doing, I love the celebrity readings. I'm going to do more soon. But they were draining me so much, and I realized it's not healthy to constantly do readings, especially with me being a channeler and an empath. Hi, Vanessa. They take a lot out of me. So I'm not just looking at something and doing the card and saying, hey, I'm going to do the reading. It's over. No, I never know what's going to happen. I never know what being is coming in. And I absolutely love it. I'm honored that they feel comfortable to talk to me. So I welcome them in. And as a result of that, I become very, very drained. And I'm sure if you're watching this and oh, thank you. I love the hearts. I need them. I love the hearts because it's been a rough weekend. I'm not going to do a reading tonight. I'm going to do the Vagina Power Girl Talk. This is a ladies talk because I have been getting some private messages from people telling me, hey, Miss Kiva, is it Kiva, Keva? I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong, Kiva or Keva. They want me to go back to doing the Vagina Power readings. And thank you, Billy. It's okay. Be messy. It's okay. People have been asking me to do the Vagina Power. Hello, Dean. Okay, that's fine, but thank you for stopping by and saying hello. Yes, it will be here, Dean, for you to do the replay. I absolutely love, love, love the hearts. Again, I will tell you, if you say hello to me and I don't speak, it's not because I'm being rude. I don't see you. Facebook's only showing me I have like 10 people. So, I don't know why they do that to me, but they do. I'll tell you what I want to talk about. I'm not saying the guys are not welcomed and the guys cannot listen. Hey, Renee. What did you say, Renee? Oh, we haven't started. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm trying to see your comment to see what you said. Oh, what kind of readings do you mean? Oh, they're spiritual readings, and I'm a medical intuitive. So I look inside of people's bodies. I deal with love, relationships, money. Yeah, that's the type of readings that I do. I don't need the tarot card, but I do use them when people request that I use that card. Let me have some tea because I have been suffering in Georgia with the humidity, with the smog, with the pollen. Hi, Gloria, and it is driving me crazy. Hey, Goddess Christina. Hi, beautiful. Hi, Tarika. So I've been having a difficult weekend and dealing with a lot of depression and just depression, anger, because I'm healing and I'm dealing with a lot of childhood shit. That's right, Christina. So this is a part of Vagina Power Summit, and that's why I'm sharing it. I will do more things on vagina power and spiritual sexuality in the future that are private, like lectures for us women, because we, especially ones like me that have gone through a lot of abuse and childhood abuse, sexual abuse, physical, mental, emotional, psychic abuse. Well, Jane, dealing with depression because of what I just said, just dealing with so much unresolved stuff that I have to work through. And when my clients come to me for readings, and it also ends up tying into intuitive life coaching, they are my mirror and I'm their mirror. So a lot of them have the same issues and hurt and fucked up mothers that I have. So it triggers a unhealed wound in me. So if something is not completely healed in me, I start looking at what type of people show up in my life, because what you need to know is that when you have people that are full of a lot of drama, now I've heard people say this, and this is absolute bullshit. Hey, Demetrius, that's a lie. When people say that if somebody shows up that's a liar, a cheater, and full of bullshit and drama, they're just a reflection of you. No, they're not. If somebody shows up like that and you know that you've never been that way, however you grew up in that type of background, you had that type of vicious, treacherous mother, then if that is still a wound inside of you, people show up as mirror to reflect where the pain is, where something is unhealed, something that still hurts, that hasn't been dug into, faced, and peel the layers away, because there's no time limit on somebody's healing. It could take years. It could take a lifetime, depending on how deep the trauma registered in your body, in the conscious and the subconscious and the superconscious mind. So it doesn't mean, oh, you deserve that and you're like that, especially when nobody can ever document you being that way and you know you're not that way. Thank you, Ian. But when it's still something, a wound, people will show up and mirror it, because, hi Rudy, what I've learned is that when I see people that have the spirit of my mother, that same demon that she walks with, the demons, legions of demons, whether they're male or female, they remind me of her. I start sensing, feeling, and smelling that same demonic energy on her that's on them. And I'll say, oh, and I'm so sorry, and I hope you're addressing it if you haven't already overcome it, because it is something that is very, very, very terrible to overcome. It could be very difficult to overcome, especially. Okay, I was fighting like, should I bring this up? Should I not bring this up? But I've literally been in the house, and then the allergy and stuff made it worse. And I said, whoa, this stuff is coming up in me. And then the pain was coming up. So I said, okay, I believe a part of these sicknesses is the unresolved emotional, the rage, the pain, the anger, all that stuff is in my body. It's in my mind. It's in the emotions. And I'm healing well, as you can see, because I wouldn't be doing this like I was in hiding the past few years. I was too disfigured and too swollen. So I know it's getting better, but what really helped it get better was when I embraced my father, because that meant I had to embrace myself. Because I would truly say, I am not my mother's daughter, I am my father's daughter, because I look just like him. My mannerisms, my mouth, everything. I didn't know why I was different than my mother and my sister and everybody in the family. And my voice, my father gave me that. But I was always humiliated and degraded because of that. And I'm sharing it because, like I said, I know so many clients and so many of my fans that won't speak or are afraid to speak, are still hiding in that pain, and their mother blames them for her abusing them and abandoning them and punishing them. And you have to know that it's not you, that you were born perfect, you were born beautiful, you were born complete, you were born with everything you needed to be a superstar. All of your gifts, abilities, talents are something you have that nobody else has like you. You're unique, you're special, and you have to know that, and you have to evolve to the point where you start loving and respecting yourself and knowing you're perfect and that you didn't deserve to be abused as a child. You have a right to be here. You have to give yourself, hi, Andre, you have to give yourself permission to be here. It says, I love our family and embrace it once I found out. Well, I don't love the family. I love my father because the family doesn't love me. So now, and that's another thing I'm going to get into in a minute about that religion and that Jesus shit. So if any Christians in here and you Jesus freaks and you're going to get offended if I say something about religion, leave the building. Leave now. And two, I want to ask everybody, if you're here, please click like on my video. You're welcome to share the video, because the more you click like on it, the more you share it, it helps get more people to know about me and come and check out Alexyss K. Tylor Vagina Power / Alexyss Wilson, Jackie Wilson's daughter, and doing that music that I'm going to continue to do this coming July. So I got a little while to get prepared, which is also why I need to really address this stuff, because it's so emotional in me. Okay, I'm not gonna cry. But my cousin there, Ian, who's related to my father's side, the Jackie Wilson family, let me tell you a little story, you guys. And the reason why I'm telling this story, and let me say this too, I'm sure you all that know me know this, but I'm not a fake person. I don't know how to be a fake person. I don't have publicists and managers to sit up and write out my statements and craft them for me and tell nice little fake punk ass bitch ass lies and project me to be something that I'm not. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm unpolished and very unprofessional, and I don't give a good motherfuck, because I hate, let me tell you something, I grew up around a lot of sick people, and moving into my adulthood, I experienced the sickness because my mother is truly a sick, fucked up, psychotic, bipolar, sociopathic, compulsive lying bitch. Dirty bitch. Disgusting. Okay. And she was sick and a narcissist and a preacher. And she had all these people around her that glorified her, worshiped her. They were also sick and treacherous and abused their kids while she abused us in the name of Jesus. Yes, pain is passion turned upside down to push you towards your purpose. Yeah, but you got to work through the pain. And I'm not one of those people that is going to go. Now, I've been to therapy before. I'm still going to go when I find someone I feel comfortable with, because just like people come to me, I also need support and backup, since I don't have a family on my mother's side or my father's side to depend on. But I refuse to be one of those types of people. And let me say first another thing. No longer am I not a fake person. I'm not going to dress up shit and, oh, it's so wonderful, and oh my God, fuck that shit. Cause that's not the life I know. I'm only gonna give you what the fuck I know. I'm not gonna, that ain't me. Go somewhere else if you want that shit. I am not going to dress this up and pretend to be something I'm not. I'm just giving it to you hard and raw without the grease, cause that's how it was given to me. That's the life I lived. I'm not going to go to a psychiatrist like I see a lot of people do and get all type of fucking psych meds so that I don't have to feel the pain and I don't have to feel the depression. And I can just coast, hi Lisa, coast through life. And I never have to address what's hurting me, because I no longer feel the hurt because I'm on some fucking dope. And I have nothing to say about anybody else is doing it, because everybody do what their tolerance level can fucking handle. Everybody has different levels. Hey Kat, so support and backup is part of your therapy, love and realness. Yeah, but I'm not gonna do the dope part. Because to me, you're not dealing with the issue. It hurts so bad that you can't bear the pain. So you get the medicine, then they diagnose you with having a mental problem. And then a lot of people will take the meds because you flatline and you don't feel the pain. Hi, Josh. I've been to a therapist. I remember when I first started seeing spirits. I've seen them since I was a child, like I said in the previous reading. And I had no one around me to teach me and to validate me because my mother would not, although she had some of the same gifts. I went to a psychiatrist and I started to tell him the things I know now that I share with you, that I then go get validation for to prove that I'm not crazy. And as I'm telling this Western medicine, it was a white man, and of course he already had no connection to me. That really didn't care. As I'm telling him that I'm seeing things in my dreams, and while I'm awake, I'm seeing things walk into the room, and I'm hearing them talking to me. Yes, baby, vagina power tonight. He doesn't say anything to me. He's looking at me with one hand, and he's sliding his hand over, and I'm watching his hand. He gets the prescription pad, and he immediately diagnoses me. And he said, nothing you saw was there. He's like, it's not real. You didn't see it. Nothing you heard was real. You're a paranoid schizophrenic. Here's drugs. I want you to go take the drugs, and you got to come in every 2 weeks, and we're going to take your blood. We're going to make sure you're taking it. We're going to measure the doses, and this is never going to happen to you again. That was when my child was little, like like 20 years ago, long time ago. And that's what they do a lot of people, because people just want it to stop. Luckily, thank you, baby. I took the medicine, and then my mind started doing this. Flatline. I'm like Kanye ass. Without the fucking shock therapy and shit. I'm just staring off. I'm flatlining. I feel nothing. And I really could not care for my child that way, because I felt no emotions. I didn't feel pain. I didn't feel happiness. I didn't feel sadness. And luckily, I'm sitting there on the sofa, my baby's sitting beside me, and I'm zoned out. The news comes on. The same drug that psychiatrist gave me, they were doing a special edition on the news about the dangers and the side effects of that same drug. When I heard that, I went and, yeah, that's fine. I do Reiki. I do energy work as well. It's still not going to take the pain away. It's still not going to erase abuse. That is something I know I have to walk through layer by layer, because it's so deep. Once I saw that on the news, I dumped those pills down the trash. And then that's when I started doing all of the free readings that I had mentioned to you in the previous shows, to get feedback and asking doctors to please let me just give me a patient's name. Don't tell me anything. And to write all these things I found and then give it to them, and then they verify. That's when I had to validate that I did not have a mental problem. I was really seeing what I saw. I was hearing what I heard. So yes, I knew that I had the other pain and issues from the trauma and the dysfunction. But I knew I was not mentally ill when it came to the psychic abilities to see and to hear. But you know what? Those things intersect, because this is what I've also noticed. I have run across people like my mother and several other psychics I've run across had mental illnesses but were not diagnosed. Are narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths, paranoid schizophrenics, but some of them have a little of all the ones I just mentioned, and psychics on top of it, or intuitives and empaths. So that's very good, Ian. Get in touch with them and develop that ability, because that'll keep, even if you don't want to do readings, it'll keep you from being taken advantage of in the future. When people have psychic abilities, and then they also do magic, they summon demons and other entities, and then they have the other problems, paranoid schizophrenia, and they're compulsive liars, and they are sociopaths, psychopaths. They like to abuse people and abuse their children. Those people are very dangerous because you don't know when they're sidekick and the fuck are crazy at the same goddamn time. The shit intersects to the point they don't know what's third dimensional reality and they don't know what's spiritual. The shit starts to overlap. That's a very, very dangerous person to be around. Because I remember with my mother, I would say my birth mother, because she's not my mother. She's just my biological mother. She physically gave birth to me, but she was not a mother to me. Yeah, so I don't respect her as that. I call her by her first name. I call my grandmother my mama, because that's the only mama that I knew as a child. Because to me, any mother that really loves you would never carry you and then have them pull you out of their ass and do everything they can to take your life and to destroy that life. But my mother would abuse her children, and I saw her abuse my sister. And then my mother would say, God told me to strip her and beat her and then go and turn the water on the pot, turn the stove on, put a pot of water up there, and then go throw it on her naked. Okay. You know that God and Jesus Christ would never tell a woman to go do that to her daughter. Well, Ian, you know that my father is deceased. So I cannot physically see my father. You know that. What do you mean? Like spiritually, do I contact my father? Is that what you mean, Ian? I would see this type of abuse and be a victim of this. And then it was very confusing because those lines would blur and intersect, because she would say that God told her to do that to my sister, to do that to my brother, to do that to me. Oh, yes, of course. Of course. He picks my music. He creates my shows. When you see the show that I did, I don't know if you could see it on my page. If you saw me singing to my father, I just felt that. Okay, we are not going to read tonight. When I did the show in December singing to him, Papa Can You Hear Me by Barbara Streisand, my father picked that song. He liked the song. Everything he picked. Hey, Tracy, almost every song that you didn't hear the other songs because I didn't have anyone I trusted to take them off the DVDs, but I'm going to do another show for you in July. Almost every song that I sang to him that he picked had father in it, and papa, and daddy. And I was like, okay, so that's fine. So it's going to be all about you, ain't it? That's fine. It'll be all about you. And I love Barbara Streisand since I was a little girl living with my grandmother. So Paxil, I've never tried that. It was only one, and that was it for me. I said, no more drugs, no more psychiatrists for me. I'm going to see what this is that I have. And I'm so glad now that I did, because I wouldn't have met you all. I wouldn't have did the Vagina Power show. I wouldn't have started trusting myself finally. And I don't want you all to be like me. I don't want you all to be later in life and find out who you are and not be afraid to stand up for yourself and heal the wounds and stand in your power and be everything that God gave you to be, that your mother says is no good, that she justifies beating you and abusing you and saying that you made her do it. That's a sign of a true narcissist, when they abuse you and then they say, you made me do this to you, and you're just a little kid. You're just a little girl. And I'm like, well, what is God? Where is this Jesus that they say will never disrespect you, will never let you down? I have so much respect for you. I share your videos amongst friends and have great power. Thank you. She would abuse us, and I'm talking about, like, people think abuse is a beating with a belt. No. I was in 8th grade when my mother made us come live with her. I was living with my grandmother, and I've never told this story, but I'll share this with you. I think I need to go ahead. There'll be therapy and just write out the book. I was walking home, and as I was getting to the front door, I heard screaming. And my sister's younger than me, and when I opened the front door, my sister was running down the top stairs from my mother's bedroom naked, and her husband was running behind her, and my mother said, catch her, catch her, catch her before she runs outside. Get her, get her, get her. You can't let nobody find out. Get her, catch her. And my mother is coming down the stairs with this big, I'm talking about the wide old belts, like a man's belt with the holes in it, but it has the metal rings in the holes and the metal belt buckle. And she told her husband to get my sister so that she could not tell everybody what was going on. And I was horrified when I saw this, and her husband grabbed my sister. And this is not my sister's father. That's not her father. We have two different fathers, but that was not her father. This is my mother's second husband. And I'm terrified and I'm angry because I can believe they're doing this to my sister, and they're both preachers, okay? And when my mother tells her husband to grab my sister, don't let her get out of the door, and then my mother tells me to get out and go downstairs into my room and close the door. And this is what I'm trying to tell you about church people, which is why I don't have a lot of respect for them unless I can read them and see that because most of these people are sneaky, treacherous, and narcissistic. I'm not saying all Christians, because I've met some good ones, but a lot of them are. And especially ones that have a lot of money, a lot of power, and a big ego. One of my mother's church members was downstairs when this was going on. She was there before I got in the house. So when I went into my room, her friend slash flunky slash housekeeper was down in my room washing and drying clothes and folding up clothes. And she's an adult. And so I'm looking at her, and I hear my mother tell her husband, okay, you hold her so I can beat her. And she's beating this little girl. My sister was probably about 7. She was about 7 years old when they were doing this to her. And she says, let me hold her so I can beat her. And so my birth mother is beating my sister naked while she's screaming, and this grown man is holding her. And then my mother says, I'm tired. Now that I'm tired, I'll hold her so you can beat her. They go back and forth with my sister was so skinny. She was so thin. And they are doing this. Oh, honey, that's just a little part of what I saw. I can't tell you the whole thing. I got to write it in a book. I'm looking at the adult, because I'm on like 12. I'm looking at the adult down there with me, and she's like this. And I'm wondering, why won't she do something? Why won't she call the police? Because there's no phone nearby that I could call. And I'm wondering, why is this adult not doing anything about it? Why are you watching my birth mother and her husband do that to my sister, who's just a little girl? And I think it was because she lied about getting a bad grade on a report card. And this, I don't remember how long it went on. Then they called my grandmother and told my grandmother that, we had to do that. And then her sister comes in looking at us like she wants to kill us. Well, am I supposed to want to go along with that? I don't know you. You're married to my birth mother. You're not my father. And my mother's trying to say, this is a family now. We're a family. You're going to forget about your father. You're going to call this man your father. Have you ever experienced Zolar's Encyclopedia of Ancient Forbidden? No, I would like to, because my mother was heavy into the occult and a preacher and had a church, and very narcissistic, very mentally ill, emotionally unstable, a paranoid schizophrenic, a sociopath, and a psychopath. All this stuff rolled into one. And she basically lied. You all don't know how many times I had to deal with defects at our door. But back then, if a lot of you didn't experience this or weren't alive back then, the if somebody would call DFACS and get an anonymous tip, they come to the door, and I remember, yeah, Jehovah's Witness, really? So the Jehovah's Witness did that shit too, Joanna? Because when I remember she had done this to my sister again, but it was much worse, and like her hands were so red and swollen. Her hands were like 5 times bigger than what they were supposed to be, because she kept hitting her in them over and over and over. And she would say, God told me to do this to you, while her husband would watch. And I'm realizing now, when couples do things like this, if one of them is the dominant one and the one is, and that dominant one is very sick, and also justifying it, saying, God is telling me to do this, I have to do this to my children, then they will indoctrinate the husband or the wife into it. Like my mother indoctrinated her husband to show, we're a couple, we're together in this, so if I go down, you're going to go down too. We're fucking, we're sucking, and we're going to beat these children together. So whatever I do to them, you're doing magic with me, you're in the church with me, you're running this ministry with me, so you have to beat them too. You have to abuse and hurt them too. You have to do what I tell you to do, because that was a part of their bonding in the pathology. You have to remember this, because it's not just about the physical abuse, y'all. If you've been through what I've been through, or even if you have not, but you still have some soft spots and you're an empath, you'll see this come up with business, finance, money, at your work, with your children. You'll see this type of personality. You all don't know. A lot of you probably do. I've dealt with so many sick people in my life. The world has a very high percentage, y'all, of narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths. More than what you know. Okay? And when they get with someone that is a part of the psychology, mental, emotional, spiritual, ritual, and bonding, especially these people are also psychic, they do black magic, and they are in religion, and they hide it to recruit others in churches, which is what my birth mother did. So there are some times I would see her after she would abuse one of us. She goes and gets in the bed and gets naked and gets with her husband. Okay. And makes us go in the room and close the door. So there was a sexual reward. He was so weak and so stupid for her that, and you all, if you study some of the headlines, if you don't know people like this, and you see a lot of child murders and you see cults, you will see that sexual gratification is a big component of this. A lot of these people will have sex with the children and the adult, or they will reward the other adult that participates in their abuse of the children with sexual gratification. Like during this weekend, you know, I've dealt with the depression. I would sit and be depressed. You know, I do what I have to do, of course, but then I go back and I break up every scenario. That's why I'm sharing this with you. I don't want pity. That's not why I'm telling you this. I don't want no boohoo session. Now, if you that's fine. If you love me and you feel pain for me, that's fine. But y'all know I ain't no victim. That's not what this is about. Even though I grew up as a victim because I was a child, I couldn't help myself. That's different when you can't control it and somebody has legal and physical jurisdiction over you. You can't get away. But as a physical and a chronological adult, I realize that the lines have blurred between the adult me. That's why I'm saying this to you, because I want you to take something, okay? If you're like me and you still have the pain and the wounds, the resentment, the anger, or you don't know, like, why did they do this to me? And you blame yourself. Let me tell you something. Be very fucking careful. Be very aware. That's when I started with that, and break this motherfucking shit down, because in my pain, I go deep and break it up like a puzzle. Just like a jigsaw puzzle. And I've been sitting here doing that. I agree. I hung out with a guy that was in my church, but he was secretly into the cult and played on light work. Because, yeah, and a lot of them men in the church secretly like to bust boys in the asshole. I know about that. I saw that as well. They prey on little boys and they prey on little girls, just like these people prey on vulnerable, lonely women in the church who say that Jesus is their husband. Okay. It's deeper than a memory. It takes you back to the feeling itself. Yes, and I'm still in the feeling, Christina, and I allowed myself to go back to the very beginning of my childhood. I even remember when I was in my mother's womb and I asked my mother about what I saw. I went into a deep meditation to go back to the very beginning, and then I found people that knew my mother. I talked to my mother's mother, which is my grandmother that raised me. I talked to her friends. I talked to other relatives that knew her. And to get an insight into what type of person could abuse and leave their children everywhere for people to have sex with me, to beat me, to humiliate, do anything they want. My mother did that. She enjoyed leaving me places like she wanted that to happen to me. And then if something happened to me and I would tell her, she's like, well, you're going to be a whore anyway when you grow up. That's just what you are. You're just like your father. And I was 6. I didn't know what a pussy was. I didn't know what titties was. I didn't know what sex was. I didn't know what a dick was. I had never seen one. I just knew that my vagina, I thought when I go to the bathroom and pee. That's all I thought that was. Between my legs. I never was with a man at 6 and 7. But yet my mother's sitting here in front of her friends. Or you're going to be a whore when you grow up. That's just what you like to do. You can be a sex freak. And I'm like, but what is sex? Oh, shut the fuck up. And her friends, there are grown people sitting around listening to this. And she's also talking about me on the phone. And I'm 6. I'm 7. I don't know what that is, but she's saying that's what you are. That's what you're going to do. Shut the fuck up. So I'm going through this and I'm breaking all of this down. But I went further into her womb, like I was saying, and I asked her one day, I said, was I a very big baby at birth? She said, yes, you're almost 9 pounds. And I said, I went back into meditation. And I was very cold in your stomach, in your uterus, and I was very lonely, and I was hungry. I said, I don't know how I was so big because I was hungry. And she very calmly said, I was up to like 5 months pregnant with you, and I would deliberately wear 2 tight blue jeans so that nobody knew I was pregnant and I didn't eat. So it's clear why you felt lonely and cold in my womb, because I deliberately was starving you. She's like, nobody knew until I was like 6 months pregnant because I deliberately wore real tight blue jeans and everybody thought I was normal. Nobody knew I had a baby in there. I said, okay, well, I know I'm not crazy. And so she admitted that part. And then, what did I say? I think, I said, I remember going back in my subconscious and my spirit, like going back in time, like time traveling backwards. I saw when I was out of her, I might have been like a few days old, a few weeks old, and I was sucking her breast, and the more I sucked her breast, I got frustrated and had a lot of anxiety, and I started screaming. And she said, I hated breastfeeding you because you would pull on my breast and you were upset. And I'm like, how the fuck was I like into your breast, bitch? That is a part of biology. Babies know their mother's scent. They know the milk. They know you have the milk. There was no sexual component. I'm just a little baby knowing that you supposedly had nourishment for me to survive. But it's clear you didn't have it because I knew from going backwards, the more I sucked your breast, I became very frustrated and went into a lot of anxiety as an infant because you had no nourishment in your breast. That's why I screamed and I kept sucking for dear life, because you're full of poison. You're a rotten bitch. I know that now. And then I asked my grandmother, because my mother was in the house with her when she was pregnant with me and when I was born. My grandmother said, I snatched you out of your mother's arms because When she was supposed to be breastfeeding you, you screamed so bad. You were so big, but you were starving. So I told your mother, I just took you from her. And I told her, leave you alone. Don't feed you. I got you. She said, I had to make you Similac, and I put vitamins in the milk. She said, I had to start making you bottles because you screamed. Every time you put your mother's breast in your mouth, your mother tried to breastfeed you, you screamed. And I got tired, and I snatched you. I took you from her, and then she left you. She left you with me. Okay. So I got that part. And then I started walking through my childhood and how that felt and how I felt. Because I want you all to start doing some of this and write down your journals until you either want to work with me or work with someone else you trust. Because I'm going to do a whole workshop around this. And it hurt, but I went piece by piece. And I still remember what it felt like at 5, what it felt like at 6, what it felt like. Because I asked my grandmother. It was one ritual that my grandmother did with me every day. And I asked her, I think like a month or so ago, because she saw the tribute I did to my father in December when I was singing Papa, Can You Hear Me? And my grandmother was so proud because she didn't know that when she kept me, that was who my father was. She didn't know. She raised that, and I said, I wanted to do this while you were still alive, Mom, because I know you didn't know when you raised me that I had all that throat and mouth. And that it could do that. And she said, no, baby, I did not know that. She said, but I'm so proud of you, and I know your daddy's proud. And she always encourages me to keep going. So that's like the only person in my family that always tells me to keep going. And my grandmother would get me up every morning. And this is something my mother never did. I don't know how my grandmother did it, because she raised her children and other people's children. She would wash clothes. She would wake me up with a kiss and a hug. She cooked a fresh breakfast, fresh lunch, fresh dinner, and had the garden outside on the side of the building. And my grandmother said, okay, now I washed you up. You got clean clothes on, and you're full. Grandma's going to go downstairs and wash clothes and hang them on the line. Because back then we had the wooden clothespins and the metal chain link like clothesline back then in the projects. That's what we had. And she would put me in her room. She turned it on this channel. I think down here in Atlanta might have been Channel 5. Okay, the Cher, Sonny and Cher, they had a show that would come on every day. And when Sonny, I love Cher. And I would just be like, I take the towel and put it on my head, and like I had some hair down on my booty. I'm like, I'm going to be Cher, and I would throw back when I grew up. And she'd have I think it was Bob Mackie. She'd have the sexy outfits on. And then I got to see Ike and Tina Turner. I got to see Diana Ross and the Supremes. And I saw Lola Falana. And when she left me up there, it was the TV was on the dresser, so it was a mirror, and I got to stand in the mirror. So when they was singing and they dancing in the Jackson 5, I'd be up there in the mirror, and I'm like, I'm gonna be a singer when I grow up, and I was spin. I'm gonna be Diana Ross. Fuck it, if they gonna be the Supreme, I'm gonna be Diana Ross, and I'm gonna be Cher, and I'm gonna be Lola Falana, and I'm doing all this stuff, not knowing who my daddy was yet. I found like a couple of years later. I was like 8 and a half, and I just knew I wanted to sing. And then I heard Barbara. I didn't see Barbara first. I heard Barbara's mouth. I was like, my grandma said, okay, turn the bed down. You gotta get ready for bed. It was like a nighttime special Barbara Streisand had. And I heard this mouth, and I was like, oh, I froze. And I turned around, and I'm like, whoa, that ain't no black lady. That lady got what? And I just like went to the TV like this. And I said, oh my God, I'm going to sing like her. And I didn't even know if I had that type of throat. I just knew, I'm like, I'm going to make that mouth do that. I was just like, my grandmother would sit me there, and I think, what was it, Alice. I like Alice, but it was mostly my grandmother. And I asked her like a month ago, I said, Mama, why did you take me in the room when you had to go clean up, and you always put it on the show with all the music and the singers? She said, I don't know why I did that to you. Because she didn't do it to my sister. She didn't do it to my cousins. I was in the room by myself. She did it to me. And I said, well, Mama, I guess the spirit led you to do that. Now we know what we know. So I remember that feeling, Christina. I remember the good stuff. But then around it, I had to go to the pieces of the pain, the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle that started the fracture. Where did the fracture begin? And I know that the fracture began with my mother. And I remember those interactions when she would come by, or when she would pick me up, or when she would get behind my grandmother's back and hit me, or when she would threaten to punch me in the face, or one time she said she'd plug an iron up if I didn't stop crying and like burn me in the face. I didn't tell my grandmother. I told her now, but when I was little, I didn't tell my grandmother because I knew that all those little freezer frames. Yeah, but the thing is what I did, Christina, I walked back through them. That's the painful part. Like I remember what she said, what I said. I went back and forth over the dialogue. I started being aware of what I felt, when I felt it, at what words, what situation, where she was sitting, where I was sitting, where we were, what it looked like. I got a visual. I literally went back in time to go back into the moment as if I was living the moment right now. And that's where I started to identify what she was. Now, the reason why I'm telling you, you want to identify what this dirty bitch is. Especially if your mother's the first one that does the wounding. And you've identified her, like I identified mine, as a narcissist, a compulsive liar, emotionally unstable, a sociopath, a psychopath, bipolar, and paranoid schizophrenic. When you see that in the first person that gave birth to you, and then you look at every piece of your life, starting back at the very beginning of the wounding, who did it, which is the mother, the bio mother anyway, how she did it, the who, what, when, where, and why. What I then did was start moving through my life and the basic brutality of the first part of it, because as I had told you a little bit earlier, how my biological mother would then initiate other adults into helping her wound her children, and they politely obliged. They wanted to be in her space. They wanted to be in her life. She's one of those types of people that if you don't know her, and I'm sure what I'm getting ready to say to you, you could probably think of someone this reminds you of, especially if you found out they ain't shit. Very charming, very charismatic, a social butterfly, very sharp dressed. She was a very attractive woman. So wherever she went, she physically got attention. That would draw men in, but it would also draw females in who were either like her, attractive like her. They'd be in a clique and they would go out and solicit men as well as hustle and sell drugs. So they had these different hustles and then trick men. So, yeah, I know this now, and she admitted this to me, that that's what was going on. My grandmother would always say it, and she'd say, you need to be here with me, when I was a little girl. But my mother admitted that's what she did, and dealt with like drug dealers, numbers runners, the big time gangsters in Atlanta. Those are the ones that she would work for and work with, and she was a booster. So she would go to like all the high-end stores, like back then, Rich's, Macy's. Those are like some of the exclusive stores, and she would boost out of those stores. So, and she was a drug user. So she really didn't want to be bothered with her own children, but because she was these things and flamboyant, they would see her with money and expensive clothes and expensive cars. They might not have known how she got it, and she knew how to lie and mix lies with the truth and be very, very flamboyant. So people were drawn to her lifestyle, and she was partying. And I'm talking about, my mother was young doing this, like 15, 16, 17 years old. She was very hot and fast as a teenager. And when I talked to my grandmother about this the other day, because we talk a lot and compare notes, my grandmother said it was many times she did not know where my mother was. And she would have people to cover for her because she was fucking grown men. I mean, my father was a goddamn grown ass man. She's what, 16? When she met him taking a full whole grown man dick all in her ass. Yes, she's a motherfucking Virgo. How the fuck you know? Is them Virgo characteristics that I'm mentioning a dirty motherfucking Virgo? Hey, Sheila. And so my grandmother really didn't know my grandmother said she knew this bitch was kind of crazy when she was about fucking 5 or 6 years old. And I'm like, oh, you just now admitting that this fucker crazy? She's like, well, I just didn't, want to admit that my own child had a fucking mental problem. So I just kept it to myself. And now I see this bitch has a fucking mental problem. This bitch is crazy. So she was out in the streets being charismatic and attractive, but then doing dirty shit. And let me say something else. That's a characteristic of a Virgo character. Okay. Let me say, and I've been trying to figure out how to phrase this. It's about my father and my mother. I don't know how to fix this up and have a cute way to like twist this shit. So I'm just going to say the shit. Now, I don't know how I'm going to feel about the shit I done said to y'all tomorrow, but I'm going to get it out tonight. Okay. A couple of years ago, I would say this is around 2016, I put on my Facebook page for the first time a picture of me side by side with my father, Jackie Wilson. And I had not told my fans that before. And I've said it, people that know me, that have followed me, and everybody in my personal life knows that I had a legal name change. My name was Wilson, and I changed it to Alexyss K. Tylor. And that was a part of dealing with the wounding, very dark-sided, treacherous, dirty as hell Virgo bitch. That was a part of dealing with the wounding, because I don't know if you all know it, if anybody's listening that have been through this or that's going to hear this, that have been through what I've been through. When your mother abuses you, that's what I know, that she would always call me by the name she gave me. And then hit me. And yes, Christina, let me tell you, these people so goddamn messy. I did not do those photos of me and my father. Any picture that you see side by side with me and my father, I had nothing to do with it. There were strangers and messy ass fans or people that just might not have been fans that just wanted to check my motherfucking footwork. Because I looked at a blog one day a few years ago and I saw these people talking about me. And they said, did you hear Alexyss? She went in on her mother on a blog talk show and said her mother was very abusive and said that her daddy was Jackie Wilson. And then they said, oh, well, let's see. So they picked a picture of me they liked, which was a side shot with the big smoky quartz crystal on my neck encased in the beautiful ornate silver case. And then they started looking for Jackie Wilson pictures. And they found one with his head turned to the same side that mine was turned, at the same angle with kind of the same facial expressions. They then started putting these pictures together side by side. And they're saying, he fucked her mama because she's a dead ringer for his motherfucking ass. And I'm saying, oh my God. I'm like, oh my God. No, they didn't. They went and checked what the fuck I said. I wasn't even sure nobody was listening to the show. But they was listening. The trolls was listening. And they tried to start shit because I knew one or two things were going to happen. I was going to be dragged and called a fake ass fucking liar, or they were going to confirm it. Based on what, so you know how them streets is. When them streets get a hold to it, they either going to say yes, or they're going to thumb your ass down. And if them streets thumb that ass down, you getting drugged. So I didn't get drugged, but my eyes are, so I liked the pictures that they put together. I said, well, goddamn. So I started using the pictures, putting them on my Facebook page. I used the pictures for videos and everything. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that the similarities was there. This is tying into what I'm finna tell y'all motherfucking ass. Because I don't know how to fix this. And it was a deep source of my pain. Never feeling beautiful. Never feeling smart. trying to buy girlfriends and make women be my friends and letting men use me, trying to make men love me, like me, men that were not even worthy. I mean, ugly niggas, because I'm the type of bitch, well, if he got a good heart, he can be ugly long as he ain't stinking. I really wouldn't judge people by their physical appearance, and I realized, he ain't got to be fine, girl, long as he nice and he take me out and shit. I can look over the little ugly part. They didn't have to be flying all that. That was never me, and that's another show, because I realized you can't do that. You have to have a criteria. You have to say, not based on physical appearance, but these people had bad character. They might not have been the cutest, and they might have been nice at first, but you know what? They were also narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths, compulsive liars, manipulative and deceptive, and wanted to bind me like a prisoner. Hold me where I couldn't move, like sabotage things that I did. The same thing my mother did. So that's why it's so important to do what I'm telling you all to do, to break this stuff up. Okay, let me get to the fucked up part about my father, and that I look so much like him and have the voice like him. That I don't know how to dress it up, you guys. So I'm just going to say what happened when I was little, when I got around my mother, when I started living with her. I know, let me say first before I tell you this, I already know that it's not true. My father did not rape my mother. And my mother is very, very, my mother plays the victim, but she will make up lies. That's what narcissists do when they want to get a supply, a constant source of supply, and they want to be the center of attention, even if they have to tell a lie to be, I just felt my dad. Okay, good. I'm glad he's listening. I was just so heavy. I'm sorry. I don't come right here. I see what he's wearing. He has black on like me. Oh, I know. I love you, Teddy. This is what my mother would do. She didn't do it when I was little, but as I got older, like about 12, and I started living with her, about 11, 12, she started to do this with her friends. She would get in a group of people that admired her, like her church members and people that looked up to her, admired her, and then sometimes she'd be in the bed with her husband that was helping her beat us, and my mother would sit up and start crying and saying that my daddy raped her. And I would ask her questions like, how many times did you see my dad? I know you said you saw him one time. And she said it was one time when she was 16. And that's when she got pregnant with me. And she came back and told him she was pregnant. And he was very happy. He said, I know she's mine. It's mine. And I want to see her. Please come back when you have the baby. I'll help you while you're pregnant. I'll help you when you have the baby. If I can see the face, I can see her and verify she's mine. So my mother didn't go back. When she got pregnant, after she had pregnant, she delivered me. She came back. She told him she had a girl. And he said, really? I'd like to see her. And then my mother started to play the games, going back and forth. Yeah. And she said to me in front of her husband and all her friends, wow, he just did this to me, and I didn't want him, and I didn't want you. And I'm like, well, why did you go? Well, I just told my friends I knew famous people, and I had an autograph, so I just went to get the autograph. And I said, wow, in his bedroom? Wow, like in the hotel room? He's home. Okay. And then she says, well, my cousin went with me, and he told me don't bring my cousin back, and then she went back by herself. Yeah, you're right, Karen. So you would go back by yourself, and that's when you said, oh, he forced himself on me. I said, so did he beat you? Did he tear your clothes off? Did he choke you? No. He just held me down. I couldn't get up, and he made me take all this dick, and I didn't want it, and it was so much, and I could hardly walk. And I mean, she's going to details. I'm a kid, I'm not really understanding this. I never had sex before. I just know that she's just like, he's hung, and she just like forced all this dick up in her, like crippled her, like almost paralyzed her with dick, child. I'm sorry, Daddy. Oh God, I may should not have said that. But I'm just gonna keep it real with y'all. That's what she said, and she said it in front of a whole bunch of people. And when she saying this, I'm talking about, and this is not one time. I heard this story so many times I can't even remember that she's the victim. Well, the only difference is she didn't say he gave her Quaalude. She was totally sober. He didn't give her any alcohol to drink. She just said, oh, they were laughing and talking, and then they had sex, and he just forced her down and whatever. And then when she said, let me tell you what is going on. And there were older women around her age. Some of them were a little bit younger, but they were around, so they were probably like in their 20s and 30s at the time. And these women are going, oh, wait a minute. Wait. Hold on. The Jackie Wilson. Wait, are you talking about? And she's like, yes. And I'm sitting beside her because I've heard this like, and I don't really, even though I'm little, I don't really believe the story. And she's crying, and they're like, oh my God, you're so lucky you fucked a star. And I'm looking at her and I'm thinking to myself, you just said my father forced himself on you, and you're telling strangers that he forced himself on you. Hey, Monica. And they are like cheering it on, like, damn, I wish it was me. You're crying. And then she goes, well, and I'm sitting there. It's like I'm an object. I'm a thing. Like I'm not human. So what do you guys think? Like, do you think I should have had her, or should I had an abortion? About me? Like, I'm sitting here right beside her, and she's telling people, I think I should have aborted her. What do you think? Because I never wanted her. What do you all think? And these women are looking, and they're going, I wouldn't. She looks just like her father. She's beautiful. I didn't feel beautiful. I felt like this big. I felt like shit. Because they didn't know. Not only was she saying that in front of them, but she was beating me and constantly threatening to like punch me in the face or shoot me in the face. And talking about my father and trashing him. Saying she hated him. She hated me. I was just like him. I looked like him. And then going through this sob story. You all think I'm lying. I'm telling you, if we go to a mall, if we meet someone and they say, oh my God, that's your daughter, she's going to be so pretty when she grows up. She's like, she's a rape baby. That's what she is. And I didn't want her. Her father's Jackie Wilson. We are standing in a mall. I remember it was this white lady that came up. We kept passing each other on the racks. It was an older white lady, and she was like so sweet. And she said, is that your daughter? And she's going, yeah. She's going to be so beautiful. No, she's not. Don't ever say that. Like, don't ever tell her that. Get over there. And walking into rooms, I'd walk into a room. She's like, that's my other daughter. I'm not going to say her name. That's my daughter there. And that's the rape baby. I'm like 11, I'm 12, I'm 13, I'm 14, I'm 15, I'm 16, I'm 17, I'm 18. And then she throws me in the street when I'm 19 with nothing but what I'm wearing in the wintertime. And then laughs about it. Bragging, laughing about it. And so I didn't see her right then. But then she's like, oh, I'm sorry. And then does more fucked up shit. Like, this is up and down, up and down. Oh, I love you. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, but you're still a rape baby, though. That I never wanted. I don't love you. I just like never loved you because she's part white. Her father is half white, half Cherokee, and black. Child, so please don't say nothing about don't say this about no white people, please. This is not please don't do that tonight. Do not make this a white and black issue, please. Because I I don't believe that's why she's sick. Y'all, unfortunately, I let this go on as an adult because a part of me was so heartbroken and devastated by her that I hoped one day, based on that Jesus shit, and my grandmother and everybody in the family saying, you love her, Jesus is gonna fix this by and by. Oh, the Lord sitting high and the Lord looking low, and she a preacher and the Lord gonna deal with her, and you know, you pray for your enemies and those that spitefully use you, and they hit one cheek and you turn the other cheek, and you still be good to your mama cause she could have had an abortion, but yeah, Monica, child, it was physical too, baby. It wasn't just emotional. And it was always, mine was about my father. And, okay. And, oh, hey, TP Horton, baby. Hi, sweetie. And with my sister, it was another type. It was physical too, but it was about her father. She would also beat her and abuse her about her father. And hit her in the face, and you're just like your father. And you're a liar and you're no good, just like your father. And her father was alive at the time. And she really wouldn't let her see him much. And when we would tell him what was going on, but he wouldn't take us either. And he was also in and out of her church, but he was fucking different damn church members. My mother was sleeping with my sister's father while she was still married to her second husband that abused us. And then my sister's father was fucking other bitches in the church. I saw all a chat, baby. This is a movie that we saw all. But you said, I believe you went through this so you could heal wounds. Yeah, but we're spirits talking about. Yeah, but my mother also practiced a lot of black magic and occult stuff. She still does. She would brag about demons walk with her, and they gave her all these special powers and stuff, and all the abuse that she was doing. She would say Jesus was telling her to do this to us. Jesus was telling her that, oh, we were planning to steal something from her. And I'm like, wow, I never stole anything. Even though you're so abusive, you stole from me. I never stole anything. So yeah, I'm gonna write it. How old was I? I'm gonna be honest with you all, and I got kind of embarrassed about it, but I realized why. Because I really thought being a good person was enough, and one day my mother was gonna see what a good child I was, and what a good daughter I was, and how I tolerated all of her abuse, and she was gonna finally be sorry and be a good mother. I started the Vagina Power Show, and my mother was still abusing me. At that time, before I started the show, I had gotten my name changed, legal name changed to Alexyss K. Tylor, because like I was saying, when abusers, especially if it's your mother, they will call you by the name they gave you. And okay, there is a psychic bond you already have with them, but it comes very demonic and twisted, and they use the name they gave you as a weapon to open the portal, open your chakras, open your auric field, and then implant the demonic entity that is on them and the energy through creating a fracture, and first an energetic fracture and an energetic wound that then now digs into the self and the physical body. Once they hit you and they physically start beating you, they then integrate that energetically into the chakras and the aura and the psyche and the mind, and then it registers down the body with every blow. Okay. So whatever entity they're triggering, because she was doing spells, I know, because she'd have the candles set up upstairs. She had an altar upstairs, or would have it low on the floor, calling these different demons, and then she would attack one of us. So now I understand, yeah, that when you study MK Ultra, when you study Operation Paperclip, and I've been looking a lot of these, and I said, I wonder, was my mother trained by any of them secretly? Because my mother would disappear for years at a time. We didn't know where she was. And she would come back from all these exotic places. And I remember, I don't know if you all ever heard of it, because I was telling, well, Karen, you hate it, you got to decide what you're going to do about it. My mother was around very influential, very powerful, very educated and psychic white people. It was this church, I think it's still here, it's called Science of Mind. It dealt with heavy like subliminal programs and metaphysic like forms of mind control. And I know now they were even deeper than what I know, because I noticed when she would come back from these trips and she would set up the altars and she would brag about the new demons she got and the new different rituals she was initiated in, then it would be an abuse session, and she would get like this she was very sadistic. She would get this high and this rush, and then she'd get on the phone to one of her friends, or you hear her upstairs bragging to her husband, and make me a sandwich and make me something to eat, and brag about how she had just beat one of us, and it would be funny. You'd hear her laugh, and it would like she would get this adrenaline rush off of creating the fracture, which would create an alter in the mind. You start to fragment and disassociate to deal with the abuse, and it usually ends up creating different personalities. Usually you'll notice people that have mental problems and have associative disorders, multiple personalities, go back into their background. It's something like mine. They've dealt with different levels of demonic, psychological, mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical abuse. Well, you can just find it on YouTube. It's free. It's everywhere. Type in MK Ultra. Type in satanic abuse. You'll see the ritualistic sexual abuse. Honey, it's free now. All these people are coming out telling this stuff. And I would see these high-level, wealthy white people that, like my mother, and she would go off with them and hang with them. And they never engaged us. She wouldn't let them get close to us. But they were always very cold and very distant. And now that I think back, I can feel like the chilly, like the demonic energy. And she would disappear with these people and then show up more like high, because she's a junkie, high and disassociated from her biological children. It seemed like this was celebrated. This was encouraged. So when I know now, I understand what happened to me. And then they call you that name when they beat you. Usually when you get ready to get a beating, that parent, that mother will call you and tell you to come here and call you by that name. And when they're beating you, they're calling you that name. And my mother always got very upset with me because she would hit me so hard. I remember one time she hit me in the face with the she had the belt and she held the end. She had the buckle part. She was using it like a whip, and she had the belt part holding it, but she was throwing it like that and hitting me with the buckle part. And when she drew the buckle, when she lashed like that with the belt, it went across here and it tore all this off. It tore like a big chunk of my forehead off. And I was in the 8th grade, so I had to go to school. And I had to figure out how to take my hair and style it and cover up my forehead so they would not see the chunk of skin missing. And then she was like, you better make up a story. You better not tell your teacher or your counselor what happened to your head. So I had to cover it. And even with that, I was in so much pain because I felt the skin like I could like hear it, and I felt it like tear, and it was white, like the white meat. And then she kept hitting me because I was silent. I was just like, grit my teeth. And she was like, you just won't cry. You just will not fucking cry. You're stubborn, just like your father. I beat you, and you just won't cry. So I'm not gonna stop. So then she would do it again, and she would stand further back where there's more, I guess, more velocity with it when she throws it, and then she just hits harder, and my skin is burning. It's hurting so bad. It feels like the skin is on fire, like it's off. And in some places it didn't come off, but it was torn open. And I'm standing there and I'm just I'm gritting my teeth because it hurt so bad. But I was not going to get this fat bitch the satisfaction of crying, because I knew with a narcissist, that's narcissistic supply, and she was sadistic. So, and I understood that early. I was like 12 when she did that to me, and she deliberately hit me in the face, because I knew if with the narcissist and a person that's very sadistic, when they know you're in pain, they pussy start running. They pussy start leaking cum, and they clit start jumping real hard. They start clapping their ass together when they cause you pain. When they do something to hurt you, and they feed off of the pain. So what makes you hurt turns them on. Just like with Dr. Joseph Mengele and these doctors that tortured Jews and tortured other people. I think they had some blacks too in the Holocaust, that were these different doctors and other sadistic people that we don't know about how they did during slavery. They got off. They didn't feel sorry for them and say, we're going to let this go. It turned them on and made them feel powerful and important to take somebody weaker than you that can't defend themselves and can't run. And she taught me not to run. She's like, that's like they taught us down south. You're going to take this beating. You're not going to run. You're not going to hold up and block the blow. You're going to let me torture you. You're going to let me maim you. You're going to see. When I thought about that this weekend, I then saw how the lines blurred when it went into relationships with men, okay, and so-called friendships with women, where I took abuse and abandonment and let people come in and out in the past. And I would justify it because they would blame me for the abuse. Just like my mother would say, you made me hit you in the face. You made me tear the skin off your forehead. You made me hit you in the arm and tear the skin off your arm. God told me to do that to you. So that you made me do it, and then God told me to do it. I'm not responsible, and it doesn't matter what I do, because God said in the Bible, touch not mine anointed and do my prophets no harm. And I am a prophet of God. So if you go tell the police I did this to you, if you go tell your grandmother, if you go tell defects, God is going to punish you, because God protects me, and God will strike down anybody that speaks against his servant. So if you say I'm abusing you, you're speaking against God's servant, because you provoked this. God told me to do this, and I am exempt from any type of punishment, and I'm special. And I am powerful because God ordained that. So I had that in my mind, and then other people would blame us. And yes, most narcissists don't. You make them do that. You made them fuck your sister. You made them leave you with a baby. You made them beat your motherfucking ass. I don't know what you call the police for, because you provoked this shit, bitch. I'm only doing, bitch, what you made me fucking do. That was a piece of the puzzle. I'm finding the beginning of the shit. Then I'm seeing that the shit wasn't over. I hadn't broke the spell from this Beelzebub looking bitch. See? So I had to see where that tied into and where the lines were blurred, because I was the victim, and then I am them carrying this shit around, and then I am attracting other demonic, filled, possessed men and women who claim they love men, want to be friends or whatever. And this is where people are saying, oh, I love you. Oh, I want to support you. I'm your number one fan. And then they steal something. Whether it be some idea I have, some music, some show, whether it's a man want to tell you what you want to hear. They love bomb you at first. That's what narcissists do. They have to talk to you every day. They have to call you and tell you good night. They have to see you all the time. Selfies. They got to be in your face. Then they really want to slide dick all up in your motherfucking stomach and ass. That's really what this shit be about. Then once they done got what they wanted, or they tired of you, or it's not exciting anymore, the hormones the happy hormones and the love bombing stage, now they're bored. So now they create some drama with you to cause an argument and conflict to justify, hi, Oshun, hi, Miss Oshun. Steal the video of your show. Yes, now you read my mind. And then say I gotta pay them to give it back. And I'm still to this day, I'm glad I did not, because you know we still don't see that on the streets because I still own the trademarks and the copyrights to all of my things. But that was very painful because these were black people. I think black, maybe, I'm not sure if some Latin people, Latin women, but these were people of color. These were not white people. They tell us not to trust white people, but these were black people that did this and tried to extort me from my own shit. And I'm just trying to be a good person and do the good thing, and not realizing I'm operating from a wounded child place of victimization and wounding. The wounds were still leaking. I'm not looking at people from a business perspective. I'm not looking at people, oh, you can't trust anybody and you better have your contracts in place. I'm just saying, hey, we give a verbal deal. If I say something, that's my word. I'm trying to bond with you, build associations in different places, and work together to heal the community, create beautiful product. And I'm not seeing these people are really not your friend. These people really don't love you. These people see something in you you don't see in yourself. It was a lot of me putting me down. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not creative enough. It was always someone else that was better. Then I found that piece. I remember that piece of the puzzle when I was a little girl. I don't know if you all experienced this. My mother would always say, oh, my friend's daughter is so much smarter than you. Oh, she's so much more special than you. She's 9 years old and she already has little breast. I'm so embarrassed because you have flat chest and her little girl is going through puberty already. She already has little breasts. You cannot even grow breast. This is true. I cannot make this up, you guys. And because this was one night she took me from my grandmother's house to go to one of her friend's house that had a little girl. And I was excited because I wanted to play with the little girl. So I wasn't jealous of her little girl. I thought their house was pretty. And she had a nice room. And I didn't have my own room. And I wished I had that. But I wasn't jealous. I don't know. I'm just not a person. I'm not like that. You know, if somebody's pretty or got something going on, whatever, sure, I want it. But I'm not going to be jealous of you and try to take yours or go around and bad talk you. I'll just go get my own and work on my own inadequacies, whatever they are, because whether they're real or imagined, I just focus on me. But my mother made it about her. We were in the car and I'm sitting there. She's getting ready to take me back to my grandmother's house and saying I cannot do anything right because this little girl has little nubs and a training bra. And I had a flat chest. It started with the little things that's another woman was better. Even though it was a little girl, it was still a little woman was better. This went on throughout my whole life where my mother always had to compare someone else's daughter to her own daughter and saying, you're not enough in comparison to this girl and to her daughter and she's doing this. And yeah, but what I noticed that about their daughters and their mom was that the mom was investing in the daughter. They had singing, they had dancing, they had acting, they worked out, they were having plastic surgery if they needed it so they could become successful models. They had the wardrobes, they had the education. Their mothers were in their life. They valued them, but you're dropping yours off with anybody who will take them because you don't want to be bothered. You say, Guyana and parents also love to compare other people's children to that. Yes, it's so damaging, but what are you doing though? Are you investing in your daughter like these other people are investing in theirs? So that's what I was saying, Christine, like you said, the puzzles. I went back to that puzzle because I never forget this stuff. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying, wow. And then I'm looking at how I attracted men that did me the same way. You know how when you're dating a man or you might be interested in one that might not go too deep. And then the man starts to say, well, I'm dating this woman and I'm seeing that one and she's better and she has this and she has that. That's not the real reason. I know now that's not the real reason. What they're usually, you're the mirror. So since you're already sick and wounded, you are now attracting someone that's mirroring you back. So these people, I'm wondering, do they know my mother? Because they're repeating what she repeated. But you know what? It's not about the fact that they are saying what she's saying. The real gag is this. They're doing it because they know inside I believed what my mother said. And I believed them. That's when the reality becomes real and you start attracting male and females, personally and in business, to want to fuck you. They know you're great, but they know you don't know. They know you have no value for what you do. You can't even see yourself the way everybody else sees you. I tell you, the only way that I got value started to get value for myself and realize I had something important to offer the world like all of you do. And that I should sing, because I was terrified to sing for you, because my mother always said, you're not going to do that. If you sing, I'm not going to speak to you. I'm not going to honor it. You act like you're proud of your father. I'm not going to honor it. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm not going to come listen to you sing wherever you are. So it's either him or me. You choose him or me. And I was scared to finally come to this point to do the show I did in December. And then I had a lot of naysayers that are family members. My father's family members. And on my side, my mother. Not anybody else in my family. On my mother's side, it was my mother who said and did things to discourage me from doing the first show where I ever sang in public as an adult. Now, I have sang in public before. And the choir in high school and in 8th grade, and when I was growing up in the school, elementary school, and in the high school choir, and I would always sing around the house and sing to my baby. When I was pregnant with him after I had him, he says he always remember me singing to him and remember my hair on him as I sang to him. But never as an adult. When I got older, she basically just shot it down and beat me down. And discouraged it. And then I had even men in my life who discouraged me from singing. It's not that they didn't say that I couldn't. They were like, you have a beautiful voice, but I'm not going to help you do that. Because with my mother, I told you what that was, but I also knew it was jealousy. But then when I got with men who said, I'm not going to help you do that, they expressed to me their fear was that they would lose me. If I help you get singing lessons, if I help you heal from all the pain and the damage what your mother's done, and if I help you get on stage and other people see you and they hear you sing looking like this man and sounding like this man, then I'm probably going to lose you to someone that I think is better than me or more handsome than me. You see what I did? I attracted people that were just as sick as me and had a lot of fears and insecurities. But the difference is they were like my mother. They were very treacherous and very narcissistic. Y'all, let me tell you something. If you haven't been through this, there are men out here that are not only narcissistic and very jealous of you as a woman and who you are, even though you don't know, they don't want your motherfucking ass to know. They never want you to wake up and stand in your greatness because they're afraid of losing you, but because they don't think they're good enough for you. Yeah, transferring of authority. They know you don't have you haven't given yourself authority because you don't know what you are. They know you don't believe because you've been beat up in infancy, started from infancy. But let me tell you something. Some of these men are not only narcissistic, these motherfuckers are sadistic. And they are psychopathic. They will make that shit physical. Spying on you, putting trackers in your car, trackers on the phone, beating you, and will kill you. Will take your life. Why do you think? I've seen the show on TV1, Fatal Attraction, and I saw a lot of shows with white people and other races where they, men are killing them, all these beautiful women come up missing, I realize it's not a black and white thing. These emotions have no gender and have no racial separation on them. And these men will become violent just to show you, just to teach you a lesson. If you don't want to be with me and you want to leave, before I see you be happy and finally strong and standing in your power and being with another man that I know is better, that will love you and won't abuse you, I will end up winning. Because if you leave, it's like you got the ups on me. Bitch, I'll fucking kill you. Because that way I win. Because you don't get to live. You don't get to have sex with anyone else and be healthy. Because you won't be breathing any fucking more. That's how a lot of these narcissists are. They will take it to the other side. That they are a combination of a psychopath, a sociopath, a paranoid schizophrenic, bipolar, and very, very violent. It then will go somewhere else just to win the game. It becomes about winning now. It's not about loving you. It's not about helping you heal. It's not about respecting you. And I saw that in my own mother and in my own household. I felt a little uncomfortable because the phone's getting ready to go dead, y'all, about going so deep. But I just wanted to share this with you and show you what I learned and the observations that I made. And I'm going to have to come and do a part 2 on this. I don't know what time it is, but I know that my phone is going dead. And I'm just like feeling... but I guess I feel my father, I feel my grandmother, but I had some Jackie Wilson family members saying they thought that I was saying my father raped my mother and destroying my father's name, and I didn't say that. I shared the story because that's the only life I know. That is how my mother would introduce me, and that's the pain and the hurt. That's why I shared it, not because I believe it. I know it's not true because I met people that knew my mother and my father in Atlanta and saw her with him, and he took her out in the daytime. That's why I know my mother's lying, and when I confronted her about it, she hung up. She would not talk about it, so I know she's lying. I know my father didn't do that to my mother. I found a lot of lies out about she told me about my dad, since I know people that know my dad. She's a fucking sick lying ass bitch, and she admitted a couple of years ago because my daddy wouldn't marry her. That's why she did what she did. She's still angry to this day because she could not control him, and so she goes around and plays this victim and tells this filthy lie about my father and then use it to say that I was nothing. I had to correct that because I had some Jackie Wilson fans and family members thinking that that's what I said about my father, and that's not what I said about my father, but I shared it because that's what happened to me. And I wanted to share with you all from all the brutality I went through. If I can overcome a mother doing me that way, I wanted to give you hope to show that so can you if you had the background like mine, not to degrade my father, because I know that didn't happen. But just showing you the humiliation, the crucifixion of my life, and how I had to fight to still be strong, to pray that I would get out of that breathing, because she kept threatening to blow my brains out and kill me. That's why I shared it with you all, to give you some inspiration and let you know if you went through that, you can hang on and you can overcome what you went through. And when I did that, my Vagina Power show, and I changed my name, my mother threatened to come to my house and blow my brains out again. When I did the Vagina Power show, because she was so angry that I took my power from her and changed my name so that I could call my own self my own name, and she could not have control over me by calling me what the fuck she wanted to call me, because that was a very wounded entity, an archetype that does not exist. That personality, that person does not exist. It's not real. And I had to kill that person and destroy the name. Any energy associated with that person, I had to change it and take it back from her. That's why I did that. And when she came to my house, she's like, "You're nothing but wasted sperm cells. You're nothing. You know, your father wanted you. I never wanted you, bitch. You're such a dumb bitch that you had to change your name, bitch, just to have some confidence and do a show, bitch. You're a worthless bitch. You always wanted me to love you, but I don't love you, bitch." She's like, "I'll shoot you right now." I mean, she's sitting in my living room. And I'm looking at her, and my heart dropped in my stomach. I was so hurt when my mother said that to me. And now I'm not, but I had to accept that. And that's what gave me the strength to do my Vagina Power show. And then she wants to come jump in to the show and try to take it over and then try to destroy the show. because she didn't want me to have anything. She tried to destroy everything that I did. And that's what made me determined that I wasn't going to let her abuse me anymore. When she said I was nothing but wasted sperm cells from my dad, that's when like it turned, you know, and I was determined to beat her at anything that she ever thought she could do on this planet and be greater than her, because she did. I was like, I'm grown and I'm letting this bitch abuse me. Yeah, Christina, but now I still have to clean up all the stuff and find my real self and stand in my power. And when you all heard me sing and you all inspired me and encouraged me to keep going and then put me down, that's the first time I really believed that I could do it, because I had people on my father's side put me down. My own mother put me down. I'm just by myself. It's like y'all and the people in the public, the only ones that tell me I'm valuable and that I help you all with your life and I encourage you, and that you are glad that I am continuing my father's legacy and finally standing in that truth. I never had anybody to believe in me and be there. That's why I wanted to share this with you all and let you know how much I appreciate you all being there, because I'm having to accept that I'm by myself and that I don't have a mother. And that song, I feel like a motherless child, that's me. But I don't cry about it anymore. I realize that's what it is. And I know my father loves me. And I know my father is with me. And he gave me a gift to me. Now, you all help me love the fact that he made me look like him and he gave me his voice. To me, that's one of the most powerful gifts of love that I could ever have. And I'm just going to focus on that. And I'm going to live in that. And that's really helping me. It's bringing up the pain, because now as I'm facing him and accepting what he gave me, that my mother told me not to accept, and like to punch me in the face and slap me in the face, and because I look like my father. Now it's like you all are helping me to embrace that. I'll come back.